Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to episode 11 of Dawn of Man. So last episode we pushed forward into the Iron Age, but we are running really low on food, which is a bit of a concern. So as such, I am going to make sure that we secure a better source of food. This pretty much means that we need to stop focusing on knowledge and expansion and focus more on our farm fields. Or otherwise we will starve. So that is a concern that I have. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is to start to put down some fruit-bearing trees, which I know is a little different. They won't yield immediately, so what I'm going to do initially is to put down a nice big farm of peas, which we will be able to yield immediately. But fruit trees I like because they don't require a lot of work, and they eventually yield a pretty decent amount of fruit. So I'm going to do cherry and pear, and peas as well. Now that our population is growing, one thing that does happen is as your population grows, you will not actually get more animals to hunt. So what you need to do is start to rely more heavily on farming and the like, or otherwise you will not be able to feed yourself. Another thing I could do, and let's go ahead and do it now, is to set up some more fishing zones, as I could go a little bit further out to fish. That wouldn't be a problem. So I will crank this up to 5. I don't expect there to actually be 5 fishermen. I just mean that they can fish as much as they want until there's no more yield. We're also somewhat low on stones, so all of the local stone that's like right butting up against my base, I'm going to queue up to mine as well. So we just built our last bloomery, but we're going to not worry about that right now. There's also some other, given that I have so many logs, there's also another thing that I could very easily do in order to get my knowledge up, which would be to add a few deep mines. So there's 2 for copper, and I need to do 2 for tin. Now I don't want to draw too many people away from... Do I already have one there? No, I don't. Come on. Tin mine. There we go. One more tin mine. And this is just purely for knowledge. I'll put it here. It might not be the closest, but I don't want to spend too much time seeking out the perfect spot. All we really need to do is throw some wood on a cart and haul it over and make it a mine. It's not that complicated. Now, given that I have a somewhat concerning and decreasing amount of food, hunting, of course, can supplement it in the short term, but in the long term, I'm going to want proper farming so that we have a steady, reliable supply, which is what all of the pea plants are for, and then also the fruit trees. I know I have a lack of light clothing, but we'll get it soon. I'm just going to finish off these defensive walls. There we go. Trader has arrived, and I'm definitely interested in buying anything that helps with food. Cattle's really expensive, though. What I can do is sell off some of my old dry skins and flints and stuff. These are items of the past that I'm not going to be using. Same with copper and tin. and bronze for that reason. Bows. I'm going to keep my bronze tools because I still might need them. So this will give me plenty to be able to buy linen cloth to supplement some of the clothing, buy some iron ore, and buy 1 cow, which will go towards feeding my community. Okay. Seems to be a good trade. And the cow's going to immediately get slaughtered. I might end up adding some cattle to my group for food, but unless I get a lot of straw, I might not want to do that because they can be tricky to feed in the winter. So I just got both copper mines constructed for knowledge, and soon I'll have both of those tin mines I queued up for knowledge. I definitely want to still be mining the iron ore, so really any iron near my base. Let's go into Primal Vision. Any iron near my base, I'll queue up. And then, going into the limits, I'm going to increase the amount of fishing poles I have and bows that I have. I want 1 bow for everyone, so that hunting is a lot easier to do. That, of course, includes children, and obviously children won't be hunting. This isn't 10,000 BC. Well, it might be, but not the movie. Alright, so there's my tin mine knowledge. I have enough sticks. I'm just going to get rid of that zone. I have plenty of sticks for a good long time to come. So as you can see, the food is rebounding a little bit. Not quite as much as I want it to, but a comfortable amount. So the new fishing areas should help. I think we need to add some more storage for wood because we don't have enough. So I'm going to add 2 more wood piles here because I'm worried that these carts are being tied up just holding wood because there's no space for it. So we'll just dump a bunch of wood piles around our charcoal pits. That couldn't hurt. And we can gather berries. Now, really soon we're going to have the riddle of steel worked out, manufacturing our first steel, which will be very cool. And doing some iron mining. Let's look around in Primal Vision for things to hunt. I know our food is rebounding, but a little bit of hunting goes a long way. There's a whole lot of aurochs here. And deer, reindeer, some boar. This will all help out a lot. As you can see, there's already a rather large hunting party all set and ready to go. So I'm going to have them, I'm going to manually control them so that the aurochs don't claim any lives. So big old ambush. Us versus them. My money is on us. This is wholesale slaughter. A donkey? Alright. I can probably stop manually controlling them. We got a whole lot of animals killed really, really quickly. You there. You have a bow, right? Oh. The thing already died, didn't it? Alright. Mr. Trader. Hello. I am happy to buy food off of you. And straw and pulses, sure. And what do I have to sell you? I've got some bones that I no longer really use on a daily basis. Some copper ore. What else do I have? Some dry skins. And maybe wool cloth. Whoa, not that much. There we go. Even trade, more or less. I didn't end up buying their pigs. Hopefully... Oh, wow, these wood piles filling up fast. I'm going to need some more wood piles. That's probably one of the reasons I have not been as productive as I'd want to be recently, is because a lot of our wood was stuck on carts, and we weren't using the carts for more productive means. And these animals that have died and aren't queued to butcher, we'll go ahead and have them be butchered. Oh, that's one of my own horses, isn't it? One of the problems of supplying a lot of prestige and welfare is there will be a huge, huge dearth of food all of a sudden if your population grows the way mine has. So that's pretty much what happened here. My pop boomed and the food production hadn't followed. So I'm struggling with that, but I think I'm catching up. Another thing I could do just outside my walls is to plant some chestnut trees and other fruit-bearing trees. It doesn't really matter that they're outside the walls because I'll still tend to them. And it's not like raiders really threaten fruit-bearing trees. So I can put some nice groves of trees just outside my walls. Looking at all of my stuff, we're looking pretty good. We finally have enough linen for everyone. Our wood piles, maybe finally... Oh, look, the food has rebounded. The wood piles look pretty decent. It is beautiful harvest time. Making sure that my workload isn't maxed, and it isn't. We'll be able to yield a lot from this field, which is important. And we're pretty close to the knowledge that we require. So taking a look at what I have yet to build. I could build one iron mine. I was really hoping to max out or mine out one of these iron nodes fully to build the iron mine. So there we go. We got a lot of grain coming our way. Now that we have ovens, I'm going to break down the old hearths, sorry, let's pronounce that correctly, because our ovens are going to be more productive than the hearths. Oops, sorry, old horse. There's no way to treat a pet. And between horsepower and human power sledges, we cleared that field pretty quickly of grain. And this grain will be then processed in the mortars and then put to the ovens. That sounds wrong, but yeah, it's food. And here we are planting peas for next season. And of course, as soon as I feel like I've got a hold on feeding everyone, more people join, which is the theme of this game. Another trader has arrived? Sure. I don't know why you're up there. That's kind of a weird spot for you to be in. You've got flour, cured meats, iron ore. It's not a lot of stuff for me to buy off you. But I'll buy it nonetheless. Now I do have all of my menhirs constructed for knowledge. I could make some more dolmen. Stone circles take up a rather large amount of floor space. You know, they're not small. So I'll plan on some dolmen coming up. So I'll have these megaliths rolling. Just taking a look around to see what's... Oh, and a raider attack. Alright, let's sound the alarm. And unfortunately for me, there's only really one watchtower where these raiders are coming in. So this will be somewhat of a bloody fight. The good news is my recent population boom will be negated. So we did lose 3 dogs and a few other people in this fight. You know, of our own people. But more or less we outnumbered the raiders. The good news about that is killing these raiders gave us enough to unlock steelmaking. So let's go ahead and cancel all of the tools in queue. And then start making tools exclusively in steel. Which is very exciting. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to basically recycle as much from this fight as I can. Sometimes raiders drop weapons, although I don't really see any at the moment. Oh no, I mean this little girl grabbed a bronze spear off of one of these raiders. And really soon I'll have the milestone of Riddle of Steel done. We do, however, have a lot of unproductive people. So I think what I'm going to do is to try to get them productive in mining. Both stone and iron alike. So we're going to have an increased need for that kind of stuff. I don't want it to be iron ore. This zone's a little wonky. Well, whatever. I'll just leave it like that. Okay, survive the winter. Everyone goes out to the planting fields. As you can see, the workload chart is going to spike now that everyone's planting. And the Riddle steel just got worked out. We manufactured our first unit of steel, which is cool. Starting to get the fruit trees planted. And then, as you can see, the pulses here, the peas, rather, are going to start yielding as well. And I'll set all those to high priority. I want to take care of the fruit trees more than most of the other tasks here. Let's go ahead and plop a dolmen down. There seems to be a pretty good spot. Wow, there is just a severe lack of hauling to do. Let's fix that. Queue up some hunting so that our horses with all their carts can actually be productive. There's no point in having work animals if they're not working. Then they're just mouths to feed that do nothing, contribute nothing. So we have 2 steel spears, a steel knife, a lot of composite bows, a steel sword. Some of those steel tools, like the sword, for instance, likely came from a raider. I don't think we've actually manufactured steel swords yet. We're just looting the dead for their goods. My workload chart still looks pretty low, so if they want to pretend like I haven't given them a lot to do, let's go ahead and queue up some walls, as I'm sure this will cause them to have more work. So there's a big old wall for them to start working on. And trader, let's buy the iron. And maybe that's all I really want from you. I'll sell you some bones. Sell you some flint. Some dry skin. There we go. And then also in the limits here, let's go and limit flint. Making sure no one gathers flint anymore. Bones I will take to 25. Anything else that we've sort of outgrown, that might be it. I definitely don't need flint miners anymore, so we'll get rid of that. And let's increase our stone work zones for more people, because they say they don't have a lot to work on, so I will crack the whip. Let's add another stone zone. There we go. And we'll crank that up to 5. And this will allow us to protect our cities pretty good with all this additional stone. Upgrade the last of the few huts. Let's also upgrade the... Whoa, Jesus. This storage hut is falling apart. Upgrade our old storage huts to warehouses. Once we have 5 warehouses, that will also be some nice accumulated knowledge. And with the increased amount of stone mining and, you know, I can also set a gather for wild plants. I don't mind that. It's something I don't usually do all that often. But a small concerted zone for wild plants. Getting some raspberries and chestnuts and the like. It's kind of nice. And this little settlement's starting to look lived in. So we've got 3 watchtowers per gate. Oh, and people are joining. I must be providing for their welfare pretty well. We have a lot of people dying of old age, which is a decent indicator that I am actually providing for their welfare, because if they're living to old age, it means I'm doing something right, I think. Alright, new trader has arrived. I'll check that in a second. Hello, Mr. Trader. Do you have technology for me? You do. Your commission is average. Let's see if I can't afford this somehow. I can sell off some of my old bronze tools. You can definitely sell all the bronze swords. Swords aren't tools that you often need. Let's go and sell off the wool, because we have a lot of spare wool. And dry skins. And flint I can sell to 0. We don't really use bones all that much. They don't sell for very much, but they do take up space. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford this. I can sell a bunch of wool outfits, but I don't want to sell so many that I put people out of clothing. But yeah, I can sell the wool. Okay, there we go. Hydropower unlocked. So what hydropower allows us to do is to build water mills. I don't know if I have a good place for a water mill because of the way I've been constructing. Yeah, I guess that's an okay place right there. And that will allow us to process grain a lot faster. So I'll prioritize that. And that only leaves reinforced fortifications rather, as the last tech left to unlock. So the water mills replace mortars, whereas the ovens replaced hearths. Now that I've probably mined out those monoliths, those megaliths rather, let's set them up to roll. Wow, there's people way out here. What are you even doing? Oh no, those are the traders. Okay. Now our gates have triple watchtowers on each one. That'll keep us nice and protected. We have a decent surplus of steel, or of iron rather, so we're just waiting on steel. These water mills, let's prioritize. Now what we might want to do is to store grain in a granary nearby. Now this gate here getting a little busy, but I can fit a granary in there. And we can set that granary up to store all of our grain. So all that grain will get processed to flour more quickly. Okay, storage hut to warehouse, and that will be the last warehouse that we're required to make. Yep, that will be the last one. People dying of starvation while I have a boom of food. It just means they traveled very far. And they were old and infirm and couldn't get home in time. Sad, but, you know, these things happen. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that grain and flour storage. So we'll store the grain here, and then store the flour and bread here. And then I have to go to all the other granaries and make sure I'm not storing flour, bread, or grain on any of them. And that helps to put everything where it needs to be. I guess I should also store some grain here. Well, no, I'm not going to store any grain here. I don't really care if the brewery is inefficient. What I'll do is I will move the brewery instead. So, production. Brewery. I was hoping I could fit two. So let's break this old brewery down. And that way, the grain that we store here can be used for the brewery as well. And the brewery is pretty close to a well. And that means I can break down this old well. Yeah, actually, I'll keep this well. I'll break down this well. Alright, sorry, old brewery. So all this new technology will help us more productively manage our food. So we can gain food quicker. Alright, so this granary is really not storing grain yet, though. I'll just kick the grain out, and that will force everyone to move it. And another trader. Due to my really high prestige, I am getting a whole lot of traders. Now, their commission is high, which is junk. But it's still... charcoal's pretty inexpensive. So, the likelihood of me buying charcoal off of them, pretty high. Let's go buy their grain. And cured meats. Why not? Only cost me 3 bronze spears. Easy trade. Given that bronze spears is many tech ages back at this point. Alright, looks like I've got a nice bit of the walls constructed. And let's finish off that wall. Alright, so my brewery is all set. They're storing bread here, but no grain yet. Where's my grain going? Don't tell me you all shoved it into like a warehouse. Nope, they did not. Says I have grain, but I'm not sure where it is. Is it sitting outside of this granary? Nope. Not that I can see. Well, it's okay. As long as the mill, the water mill, is still being productive, that's fine by me. Alright, stone collection work zone exhausted. Let's find a new spot for more stone. Oh, here's one. Keep them productive. Oh, and we just made our 10th steel, which is pretty cool. 3 more knowledge, and we'll unlock the last. So 3 more is this warehouse, and then probably not that much else required. Trader with an average commission. Charcoal. And, ooh, you're selling straight steel? I'm tempted, but won't. I have actually a lot of straw, so I'll just sell off some straw for this charcoal and iron. And with that, that's about all the time I have. So if you have any tips or feedback for me, please drop me a line. If you have an interest to see Dawn of Man played on a more challenging scenario or hardcore mode or something like that, let me know, because otherwise this might be the only and the last if there's not increased desire for a continued series. And once I hit the 100-person milestone and have the base fully constructed, I'll kind of call this tutorial series completed. So thank you all very much for watching. I hope you tune in next time, and I'll catch you all later. Adios.